So, you have won. The crown is on your head. The key to the corner office is in your hand. The company, the kingdom, the prize is finally yours. You stand on the summit, savoring the view, breathing the thin air of victory. Enjoy this breath. It will be your last moment of peace for a very long time. You believe the battle is over. A fatal mistake. The battle has just begun. The throne you now occupy is not a comfortable chair. It is a guillotine in waiting. The smiles of your new subordinates are not signs of loyalty. They are masks, hiding daggers. Your old rivals are not defeated. They are merely wounded, coiled in the shadows, waiting for your first sign of weakness. Everyone is watching. They are testing you. They are judging whether you are a fleeting storm or a permanent change in the climate. Your first 100 days will not determine if you are liked. They will determine if you survive. Forget sentiment. Forget a gentle transition. Forget the fantasy of winning hearts and minds from a position of weakness. Popularity is a luxury for established kings. For new princes, there is only one currency that matters: security, and it is purchased with a very specific and brutal form of decisiveness. This is the dark art required for a bright future. Pay close attention. There is a law of power, as immutable as gravity. It was articulated best by the Florentine diplomat, Niccolo Machiavelli. He wrote, "Injuries ought to be done all at one time, so that, being tasted less, they offend less. Benefits ought to be given little by little, so that the flavor of them may last longer." Do not misinterpret this as a call for wanton cruelties. This is a surgeon's doctrine. When a limb is gangrenous, you do not treat it with a gentle balm. You do not make 1,000 small, hesitant cuts. That is not mercy. That is torture. It guarantees infection, spreads the sickness, and ensures a slow, agonizing death. No, a true surgeon makes one swift, deep, and decisive cut. The shock is immense. The pain is acute, but it is over. The sickness is removed, and the body can begin to heal. This is how you must view your new domain. It is sick with old loyalties, riddled with inefficient traditions, and infected with factions who see your rise as their fall. Your task is to perform the necessary amputation at the outset. All the firings, all the demotions, all the radical changes must happen at once. A single, terrifying shock to the system. Why? Because a single, overwhelming blow paralyzes your opposition. It leaves them no time to rally, to conspire, to organize their resistance. But if you inflict injuries, piecemeal firing one manager this week, changing a policy the next, to create a state of perpetual anxiety and resentment, you give your enemies a new reason to hate you every day. You bleed them with 1,000 cuts, and they will never forget a single one. They will unite in their shared misery, and they will bleed you in return. Your reign will be short, and it will be miserable. The first principle is the most difficult and the most essential. You must purge the old guard. Immediately, the men and women who were powerful under the old regime are not your friends. I do not care how sincerely they pledge their loyalty. Their power, their identity, their wealth was tied to the world that you have just destroyed. To keep them in place is to plant a garden of vipers at your feet. Their loyalty is a performance. Their memory is long. They are time bombs. Look to history. When Augustus Caesar came to power after the assassination of his great uncle, Julius, Rome was in chaos. He did not try to appease the senators who had killed his predecessor. He did not seek compromise with his rivals like Mark Antony. He hunted them down. He purged the Senate. He ended a century of civil war with a short, brutal, and utterly decisive consolidation of power. The result, the Pax Romana, 200 years of stability and prosperity, built on a foundation of absolute, ruthless clarity in his first years. Contrast this with Louis XVI of France. He inherited a kingdom bankrupt and groaning under a corrupt and archaic system of aristocratic privilege. He was a good man, a gentleman, and he was a catastrophic failure. He tried to reform slowly. He tried to appease the nobles, then the clergy, then the commoners. He zigzagged, hesitated, and compromised. With every small, reluctant concession, he showed only weakness. He angered everyone a little bit, instead of terrifying his true enemies at the beginning. His indecisiveness did not save him. It sent him and the old world to the guillotine. When you take over a new department, the sycophant of the old boss must go. When you acquire a new company, the executive team that fought the merger must be dismantled. Do not give them a chance to poison the well. It is not personal. It is structural. It is necessary. Once the human obstacles are removed, you must attack the system they inhabited. This is the second rule. Shock the system with new laws. The old guard thrived because they understood the old rules. They knew the loopholes, the informal networks, the established processes. Your second act is to make all of that knowledge obsolete overnight. You must change the very landscape of power. Introduce a new reporting structure. Overhaul the compensation plan. Change the company's mission. Implement new software that makes the old ways of doing things impossible. This is not merely about efficiency. This is about disorientation. While your enemies are struggling to understand the new map, your allies, the people you promote, the ones who are loyal to you are already on the move. You are creating a new game, and you are the only one who wrote the rules. Consider Napoleon Bonaparte. France was a fractured mess of ancient laws and revolutionary chaos. He did not try to amend the old system. He swept it away entirely. He instituted the Napoleonic Code, a single, unified legal framework that redefined property, family, and individual rights. It was a shockwave that liquidated the last vestiges of feudalism and established a modern, centralized state under his absolute control. He did not ask for permission. He created a new reality by decree. This is the model. Do not tinker with the engine. Replace it. Now for the final and most masterful stroke. This is what separates the enduring prince from the fleeting tyrant. Rule 3. Pivot to benefits after the purge is complete. The shock and awe cannot last forever. It is a tool, not a state of being. Once the blood is dry, once the new laws are in place, once your power is absolute and uncontested, you must begin to let the sun shine. Machiavelli was clear. Benefits ought to be given little by little, so that the flavor of them may last longer. After the initial trauma, any small act of grace appears as a monumental gift. A small bonus, a word of public praise, a minor promotion. These things are now savored. You have established the stakes. You have shown the terrible consequences of opposition. Now you show the rewards of loyalty. People will not just obey you out of fear. They will begin to serve you out of a desire for your favor. The memory of the initial swift brutality makes your subsequent generosity all the more potent. You are no longer seen as merely cruel. You are seen as strong, decisive. And now that the unpleasantness is overviven, magnanimous. The master of this was Cesare Borgia. To pacify the rebellious province of Romagna, he sent in his most ruthless lieutenant, Ramiro the Orco, who brought the region to heel with executions and brutal suppression. The people were terrified and resentful. But once order was established, Borgia did something brilliant. He had Ramiro de Orco arrested, cut in two, and left in the public square for all to see. In one stroke, Borgia took all the credit for the restored order, and pinned all the hatred for the cruelty onto his dead subordinate. He then began to rule the province with fairness and good governance, and the people, in their relief, hailed him as their liberator. He inflicted the injury all at once, through a proxy, and then distributed the benefits, little by little, himself. This is the path. A period of brutal, calculated, and swift consolidation, followed by a long and stable reign of carefully distributed magnanimity. The initial cruelty is the price of that long-term stability. It is the dark art that makes a bright future possible. Do not hesitate. Hesitation is fatal. The first 100 days are your only chance to build a foundation of stone. Every day you wait, your enemies are building a scaffold for your execution. Seize power, then secure it. Join the order, and learn how to rule.